Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome back, guys, to some green candles here from Bitcoin. We're going to talk about what it means for the market, what it means for altcoins, and obviously how equities fit into the picture as well. But yeah, hope we're having a great start to our Wednesday, guys. A reminder that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. A real quick introduction of the panel. I'm Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Tucker, Max, and of course, Prometheus. Welcome, guys. I hope we're all having a great start to our Wednesday. Bitcoin has been showing a tremendous amount of resiliency here, locally speaking. Last night we kind of had this very robotic mechanical walk up into resistance, traded all the way into, I think, above 108K, maybe. Yeah, I think above 108K. So we're still trying, I think, to get that full breakout, right? Which is probably above 109, 110K. It's a truly enter price discovery. And I would think if we were to see that, you're likely to see a short squeeze much larger than this. But for now, Bitcoin, I think still, tremendously resilient relative to altcoins. But before we can start talking about, I think, things a little bit more in depth, a little bit more granularly, I'm going to ask if you guys can smash the like button for us. Let's run the like button up today. Right? I don't want to have to see soybeans. I'd love to talk about nothing but crypto. Even equities are, there's a lot of, shitcos that are popping off right now. We can talk about some of those, talk about Circle, etc. But if you guys can hit the like button, maybe you throw some requests in the chat. We'll try our best to get to them, and we're going to have a great show for you all today. But like I said, Bitcoin went and tagged 108K overnight. It has been showing a tremendous amount of resiliency. Whereas I think you have altcoins, which are a little bit more on the fence right now, right? We can obviously highlight some of those altcoins throughout the show. But when we're kind of looking at the structure of alts versus Bitcoin right now, it's no doubt that Bitcoin currently looks a lot better than a lot of alts. So we're probably going to need Bitcoin to continue this rally realistically so that those altcoins can continue to reclaim important levels. Obviously, Bitcoin gave us kind of like a news-driven reaction to finding out that the war was, whatever's going on over there. We had a huge headline, obviously, from Trump saying there was a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Bitcoin responded in kind, and altcoins, despite the fact that they squeezed up 10 to 15%, do still have some work to do to reclaim levels and begin pumping. Is it going to be an altcoin summer, or are we going to see more Bitcoin chop, which you'd imagine in that scenario, we're probably about to see Bitcoin dominance continue higher. But sorry, guys, my cat is clawing at my chair. But how are we doing, guys? How is our morning going thus far? What are we thinking of the price action that we're seeing, not just on Bitcoin, but obviously altcoins as well?
Well,
I just have one question. Why does crypto care if Israel and Iran bomb each other?
It's a good question.
Why have we succumbed to this?
It's a good question.
I actually want to know.
Because it seems like the S&P doesn't care. I'll tell you that.
The Russell seems to care a little bit.
The QQQ does not care at all.
QQQ doesn't care.
But yeah, I really don't. I don't want to see QQQ gap up and then sell below all-time highs. That would be a little unfortunate, but it doesn't look bad by any means, but
Okay. I think if we reject here, some alts do not look very good. I know that's a very hot take, right? But no, this is something that I think we were talking about on Monday. Bitcoin clearly looks structurally stronger than most of these alts. When we talk about upside, it's easiest to talk about it with Bitcoin I think largely due to those TradFi flows and the fact that it has mostly shrugged off this move. But if Bitcoin is going to potentially break lower, we're definitely seeing some weakness in certain altcoins that could be exploited. And God, I'm going to be such a broken record, but most notably Solana, right? I think the real question is, where does ETH fit into that equation?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, ETH couldn't even get back to, that's the same level on ETH as I just marked out on Sol and Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's up here compared to that level, right? So I'm sure we've seen a bounce in this. Yeah, we'll grind up in the Sol ETH pair, but I don't know. I just think alts probably aren't buying it yet. They're just not buying the Bitcoin strength quite yet.
Yeah, I don't think they will until Bitcoin's in price discovery. I mean, that's historically what we have seen. I've been talking about in the Discord, right? It's going to be super easy to reposition back for upside in alts rather than it be easier to reposition for downside in alts. I mean, we're seeing alts lower than where they were when Bitcoin was at 102K for the majority of them across the board. You look at Ethereum, and we're kind of having a little bit of an underside retest at the 24, 80 level, we'll call it. And yeah, I mean, it looks like we're just getting that Bitcoin liquidity vacuum. And like Tucker said, alts are just not convinced yet. They're not quite convinced. And if you are able to let the dust settle a little bit and things kind of ease, the volatility in VIX, specifically in equities, continues to, I don't know, Tommy, did you see VIX futures? They look horrible. I mean, they look like they went so much lower. But if that comes down, and we do get that breakout in indices specifically, then I think you really get that green light, for alts.
Yeah, it's like this interesting dichotomy when I'm looking across the board at markets where altcoins look horrendous, but I don't really know quite where the fuel is going to come from for a leg down unless Bitcoin's just chopping and Bitcoin dominance is mooning, because it's like you said, Prometheus, the VIX does not look constructive by any stretch of the imagination. It looks like it's just going to literally bleed into the ground. But, I guess this is a market where it's been heavily influenced by headlines throughout. We never know what the next headline is going to be, but even still, I feel like when we look at VIX, we can always kind of tell, okay, well, it looks constructive enough to say maybe there is a headline coming. Right now, it just looks like it wants to perpetually bleed out forever with these tiny spikes here and now, or here and then in between. But yeah, it is like a very different. I'm very perplexed when I'm viewing altcoin structures versus TradFi, because in theory, given how strong TradFi's been, you would expect that to translate probably more tangibly over to altcoins.
I mean, interestingly enough, what we've seen, what we saw in 2023 and 24 is actually a lack of correlation between indices and Bitcoin specifically. We've saw, in the summer of 23 and 24, a grind up, in the SPOs and the SPX, and altcoin, put in its, high time frame ranging structures that, we saw over the summer. And the golden question is on everybody's mind is that, are we getting that again right now? Is this distribution or is this breakout? And it's really hard for me personally to say, whether or not. I am very much leaning in the camp that, Bitcoin looks like poo-poo here, in my opinion. You did break structure to the downside. If you, want that to be manipulation and confirmed PO3, then you need a expansionary move to the upside soon. Otherwise, you're just hitting your head on supply across the board. And really, Bitcoin's just getting propped up by this, liquidity vacuum right now out of alts. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now personally.
I mean,
What
dude,
are we-
look at like the VIX, where I mean the futures are still elevated, right? Like the last time futures were at this level, the S&P was at 5580, and now we're at 6100, and VIX futures are the same level. So I would love to see him break down more, but I hadn't looked at that chart in a while. I'm kind of shocked they've stayed this elevated the whole time.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy to witness. I mean, this administration has kept everybody on their toes.
100%, yeah.
So what do you guys think of hype here? You guys think hype is still going to be that market leader, still be that, risk on asset? What are we viewing hype as right now?
I have some personal skepticisms about hype continuing higher here. I was texting Max and Tucker as much last night. This could be a bearish retest. Structurally, it kind of looks like it. Or, if Bitcoin's going to continue higher, this is probably going to give you a hint as far as what altcoins are, or like other altcoins, weaker altcoins are potentially going to do, where they're going to have to overcome these bearish retests that, are potentially underway right now and break higher, which I think is going to require Bitcoin to break the highs. I think you're going to have to see Bitcoin above 108, 109K. If you're breaking above the highs, you're probably getting a pretty big short squeeze into like 120. Which alts would obviously benefit from. But I think mainly, Hyperliquid, ETH, those are two assets where they're going to need Bitcoin to go higher to, I think, induce some more positive looking market structures and kind of ignite that momentum at the same time. But if Hyperliquid is bearish retesting, that in itself would be a signal for the market, just in the same way as, okay, if Hyperliquid is going to potentially break back into price discovery, well, altcoins are probably about to have a really good time, right?
Yeah, I'd like to see this start to look a little more constructive here soon. Because if you keep, if you keep doing this for a while and start setting lower highs, then it starts to look a little distributive for sure. So
yeah,
yeah,
kind of giving me
cooked yet, but what are you saying?
No, I agree. Yeah, it's starting to give me kind of like a Fartcoin structure almost. That sounds so weird to say.
So sophisticated.
Yeah.
Structure.
Looking a little bit like Fartcoin to me. Kind of that head and shoulders toppy, liquidity grab, back down into the next level support.
Yeah.
And we understand too, like these two assets have been really the market leaders for really this whole run up off the lows. It's been driven by Hyperliquid and Fartcoin. So, Fartcoin largely preceding the move down that a lot of these alts then followed. I think you're going to probably see that continuation of, Fartcoin from a chart perspective, kind of being that visual representation of those flows in the market.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Fartcoin was already selling when hype was like topping up here, like it had already set a lower high. So,
I still feel like for Hyperliquid, if we end up looking back, it'll make perfect sense that it ended up doing exactly what BNB did. And, before the 2021 cycle, where you had two hype cycles that were basically just a high time frame accumulation range. In hindsight, BNB ranged between, I can't remember the exact dollar amounts, but when it broke out of that range, I mean, it ended up 20 to 30xing within a very short period of time. I mean, it was honestly insane what BNB did in 2021. But that accumulation range that it had back in 2018 and 2019, even 2020, I kind of feel like we're going to see Hyperliquid do more or less something like that.
Way
Yeah,
back.
that's- whoa, wow.
So, oh man, I see what you're talking about here, Tommy. So what, like this? That's what you're thinking?
I hadn't looked at this since probably a few weeks ago, but yeah, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah. And then it just verticality was studied. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did it go from? $30 to 600, 700? Yeah.
And what's funny is this is something that we talked about too. I think it was either Monday or last week, like that BNB grind. Maybe I did it on like an afternoon call, but everybody talks about, yeah, I would have made it if I just caught that BNB long on max leverage. And you look at the way it traded in that slow grind back to all-time highs, man, you were not catching it on leverage.
No. No, they didn't. They definitely did not let you. I mean, this reminds me of like ETH in 2021 when it was at like $700. Like, this is what it looked like. It was just this brutal grind up.
Mhm. Well, I mean, too, from like a market sentiment perspective, coming out of COVID, it's kind of like that area is coming out of COVID, and how long, because we had COVID in March of 20, right? And just it goes to show how long it really takes the markets to settle down after some, larger headline, event. And then coming out of it, once that dust does settle, if things all else equal are, bullish and you have the right market conditions, things get, very, very, very bullish, very frothy. And I think we're in a similar like dynamic right now. Like we just need Trump to calm down on the weekends a little bit. We need, for Powell to cut. And we're really lining up and we're in this environment to where things could get really, really, really nutty. I just think it may take a little bit more time than we want, unfortunately. But I do think that we're gearing up for that. I do want to preface that.
You sound like me, Prometheus.
Yeah. Yeah, Tommy said that a long time ago that we're going to be here a lot longer than we want to be. I mean, yeah, it took BNB 200 days to get back above the pre-COVID highs, So, I mean, we haven't had like a COVID type sell recently, really, but regardless.
What do you guys think about the possibility that Bitcoin is just like replicating a version of that that 7-month hell range we were in, just like up here at kind of like the top of range highs? Does that make sense? So we're just kind of
we're just doing this.
Yeah, we're just kind of like replicating something like that up here.
I mean, from a timing perspective, it would make sense. That was our 2024 ranging structure, decorrelation, decoupling from, indices. While indices grinded up higher, made, new all-time highs. Bitcoin did chop sideways. From a timing perspective, it's pretty similar, and from a structural perspective, it's pretty similar. Unfortunately speaking, but
I mean, it just kind of reminds me of that range, because every time we would get close to a market structure break, we would reject, and then we'd go rotate back and form another low. But I mean, it was just eventually like a bull flag. We're probably seeing the same thing again on Bitcoin up here. The question is obviously, okay, like what's about to happen to altcoins if that's about to play out?
Oh, evisceration. I mean,
I mean, what do you
evisceration.
think about like these lows though? Like, or do you think? I mean, because the highs don't look super similar, really, but like the lows, these we may have put in the 49K is what I'm hopeful for right here, because this is obviously happening a lot faster than this took, right? Like we've already put in 1, 2, arguably 3 highs.
Yeah, it's the end
1,
of
2,
cycle
3.
acceleration.
Like I could see us being here, putting in this low, you know, come back to 100, 102, and then just grind up and go. But speculation. But I see what you're talking about, Tommy, for sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of an idea. I'm trying to make sense of this price action on BTC against equities, because equities are, maybe they're just catching up to Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin made an all-time high, entered price discovery. Now it's kind of ranging. We're about to see Nvidia enter price discovery right now, which I think is a huge positive for the stock market, quite frankly. I think the Qs did as well. And if they haven't, they're very, very close. Are we about to see equities potentially kind of chop right around all-time highs, kind of like what Bitcoin's doing, while we just more or less bull flag? I don't know. I do think regardless, you know, if you're just kind of going off something like Sol BTC, I think we're about to see Sol BTC finally put in like its last leg lower. If that's maybe a signal for where altcoins are in terms of their relative performance against Bitcoin, then I would take that as a negative, and then obviously a positive after that.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like trying to find the bottom, if we do get a pullback in alts, is not like a is not, for me, is not a catching the knife, you know, kind of situation. It's more of something where I want to see similar to what we saw in 24, where like Ethereum went sideways down there at the low, you know, and we had that accumulation and actually held up very, very, very well while Bitcoin continued to sell. I mean, if we start to see Bitcoin selling and alts going sideways, I think that's your like, okay, there's seller exhaustion. We're probably nearing some form of low, and hitting those mini cycles within the broader cycle kind of perspective, and that's your like bottom, right? And that's when you really, I think, want to start looking for some longs, looking for some spot bags in alt specifically. If we do see further downside, that's how I'd approach it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it looks somewhat similar to ETH BTC, obviously, but
I think it's a different. I think it's going to play out differently. But maybe it doesn't, right? Because I think we talked about this last week, but Sol USD does look a lot like ETH USD last cycle. So maybe it just does beat Bitcoin again, just speed ran. I don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference if we're talking about, okay, like what altcoins are going to be outperforming when Bitcoin finally, you know, blows off and equities finally blow off, because it looks like we're increasingly, in my opinion, the fact that you have Nvidia financials and potentially, you know, equity indices all entering price discovery means I'm raising the odds that we're going to have some sort of melt up in equities at some point in the next year. The question is, okay, where does Bitcoin and where do these altcoins fit into that? Is Solana going to be a part of that? Probably to some degree, but I don't think you need it to be pumping really in the same way that you do with Bitcoin, with ETH. Where do we think ETH falls into the equation if Bitcoin keeps chopping around here at all-time highs? Because I think that's an important question.
if Bitcoin chops, let's see. USDT, okay. Well, not the best. Chop as in what? Are we talking about like this previous range back here?
Yeah,
This,
like
this
you
type
just
of-
you just keep rotating towards the lows. Maybe that means Bitcoin takes the low from this week at some point here over the next like 2 or 3 weeks. Then you get a spring back.
Do you want my real price target?
For ETH?
Yeah.
Well, I did see Ansem post a picture today about ETH going to like 1K.
Oh
Dude,
my. That's
I think
that's a bit aggressive.
I think that's a very aggressive target for ETH, but I will not underestimate its ability to be a pain in my ass.
Yeah. I mean, I texted in the group chat. I mean, I think 1800s is very much still on the table for Ethereum. Especially, I mean, if we see something nasty, but if we see Bitcoin just chopping, I mean, range lows is most certainly on the table. I mean, at least the 2100 level, coming back down for, double tap, double bottom there. Definitely speaking, because Ethereum had its opportunity. Like, it had its opportunity back in May when it was showing that resiliency, when it's showing the strength. It had a ton of inflows, right? That was the window for Ethereum to have like go mode. And unfortunately, things played out the way they did. And I think if not, you would have had like a monster move higher on ETH specifically. But probably some form of reaccumulation here between 21 to like 2400 if you see BTC chop sideways.
21.
Yeah, I don't think ETH goes as deep as 1,000. I think that's kind of a little ridiculous. If it happens, we're going to have, I think, some much more difficult conversations about what that means for the asset. But no, I think based on Sol ETH and ETH BTC, the downside for ETH should be relatively limited from here. Obviously, you never know, but that's just I kind of think ETH BTC might have set a low or its macro low. If it hasn't, throw away what I just said. But I think it probably has set its macro low. I think Bitcoin dominance continues. I think Bitcoin and ETH dominance probably just continue to rise, to be honest. But based on Sol ETH, I think that's getting ready to move down. And there's a world where ETH trades mostly in line with Bitcoin and Sol just kind of falls off a cliff.
I agree.
If Bitcoin's in a range.
I don't think that I'm not really concerned with what I'm seeing today. Like, I know that yesterday everybody's bowled up, and I'm not even talking about you guys. Like, yesterday everybody's bowled up, and then today we get like a micro shakeout, and like suddenly $1,000 ETH is back on the table. I guess it's one of those things where it's like strong convictions held loosely. Certainly, I think is a winning strategy, but I also think it's very premature to be prospecting that. I mean, I look at ETH right here at 2,400, and to me, it looks like you could maybe see 2,300. But I think this idea of like rolling over like 30, 40, 50% flushes from here across the board. I mean, Bitcoin's at like 106, 107. I think there's this idea that like things just like, and I think a lot of it's conditioning with just how difficult the cycle's been, but it's like people have just been conditioned to just expect every single move to just roll back over. And I get it because a lot of them have, but eventually one's going to stick. And I think that this one has the best chance that we've seen in a long time. I am not too worried about this level here. I think you could even come back, to ETH into that value area low that Tucker has, and it'd still be totally fine. But I think we could even see later this week, or, this weekend, like continuing to kind of curl up, lock in some decent looking bullish candles as we head into Q3 in July is going back to 2018, more recent years of Bitcoin, excluding some of the like pre-$1,000 months where things went crazy and, you know, distorts the data for seasonal returns. Again, July is historically the second most bullish month for Bitcoin, kicking off Q3, second to that of only October. So I just think it's really like, I don't know, I think it's just a little overly skittish to be, you know, that skeptical right here on just like after the move that we put in, which is really a solid reclaim of a range low. I think it's super premature to just be freaking out now, like calling for BARTs and rollovers. Like, I think you got to give it a chance. I do. Because I think if we can move, you know, ETH can move up another 100 points from here. I don't think it's going to stop there. I think it's going to just rip to 2,900 and then some. So I get it. Like, today's micro dump is annoying. You don't love to see any micro dumps, but that was a hell of a reclaim off of a really poor weekend to escalation. And I don't think it looks half bad. I mean, Tucker, could you remove your volume profile and draw like just a range high, range low on that structure right there?
Yeah,
I would take it to the Wix. Take it down to that.
I know.
You're being generous. Go on the daily.
Well, no, that
Go
actually
on
is
the daily.
that
I don't
is-
think it's a
that is the
reclaim.
range though. Like the swing high to the left of that, Tucker, is your range high, and that wick is your swing low. Like that's not a distorted range. Like that is your pivots. That's your swing high, your swing low with symmetrical deviations, one to the top side and one at the bottom.
Yeah.
So there's no distortion here. Like that is your range without question. That's a valid range. So I look at this and I go, okay, so we clearly have a little daily inefficiency right below where we're at right now. It wouldn't be that surprising to see us drop into that and then proceed higher, you know? But I don't know. I just think that everybody's really exhausted, truthfully. But I don't think that things look too bad here.
Yeah,
I
and
think
Tucker,
the argument that sorry, Prometheus, what were you saying?
Go ahead, Tommy.
I was just going to say, I mean, I think the bullish argument is Coinbase, right? I mean, ripping into price discovery, I don't think that has happened this cycle without it eventually being followed by ETH and altcoins. So, you know, maybe we're just on kind of a delayed timer here relative to Coinbase, but that's typically a bullish signal.
I can't point to an instance where Coinbase has been ripping and crypto didn't follow shortly after. Like, I'm not familiar with that. Doesn't mean that it couldn't happen now for the first time, but I mean, we could just simply overlay like the ETH chart or the SOL chart with the coin chart. Or my favorite example is actually the Pepe chart, but
dude, that's the same level. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
just think that
crazy.
it's like, what are you expecting here? Coin to keep going vertical, but like the thing that in which they sell is, you know, rapidly depreciating in value. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Did Coinbase adopt some like treasury strategy we don't know about yet, or like what would be causing this move? Like, I understand there's some stable coin news, I get it, but these are some pretty strong, like multi-year long correlations that we're facing right here. And I think that crypto's just slightly lagging what's happening with Coinbase, in which we've seen that before. You know, we've seen that same dynamic before. So look, if ETH loses the weekend low, I'm not talking about a sweep of the low. I'm talking about like the low has been lost. Then we have another discussion. But right now, to me, this looks like a pretty solid attempt at a structural reclaim of a range with a major deviation. And you have Coinbase ripping. And in my view, stablecoin dominance still looks, I would say, questionable at best for a move higher.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think like there's a few differences on this ETH versus coin chart, right? So like obviously this is the same level, right? So coin is at 4K ETH right now. The only issue is like coin double bottomed at 2100 ETH, right? ETH went all the way down to 1400, so a little overshot there.
Do me a favor on your ETH chart. Click on the ETH chart and then compare a ticker, Click the plus sign and the no. You can keep the side by side
you
up.
want me to add it? Okay,
Yeah. Just add Pepe down below that. Because I actually think the Pepe chart is a much closer mirror to coin for whatever reason. You might have to throw it in log mode or something, just because it's obviously a little distorted. You need to multiply out. Just click on the no. Click on the Pepe ticker, and then click on that. Multiply it by like a bajillion. Yeah, there you go. And then throw it. There you go. Like that to me is like a mirror of the Coinbase chart.
Yeah,
Just a little
actually,
baby sweep of that wick. Yeah.
like Pepe was stronger than ETH here, right? ETH lower low, Pepe double bottomed.
But I don't even think that ETH overshoot is a bearish thing. I would actually argue it's a bullish thing, because typically when you get those crazy overshoots, they're met with even more of a reflexive move to the opposing side.
But like, look at Pepe, dude. That's the same level on.
I know.
Like that's nice. That's a way better comparison actually than ETH.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Pepe
you
is the true
sold
beta.
off more. You definitely sold off more.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, the move up we're seeing in Coinbase right now is a fundamental forward repricing of their bottom line due to the derivatives markets they now have access to. And the issue is Ethereum is fundamentally flawed in the fact that they do not benefit from generating revenue from from stuff built on it.
Wait, who's not generating revenue? The ETH Foundation, or what are we talking about?
They do not capitalize nearly as much as they should on layer twos, on generating revenue from the layer twos built on their chain. And
So
that,
yes, but who are you talking about? Like, who's not generating? Like, what's the bear case that you're making? Like, who's not?
No. I'm not making a bear case, Max. I'm saying there's a divergence between Coinbase and Ethereum because of the repricing of Coinbase's business, because their bottom line now has access to derivatives markets and their
And what are they
increasing revenue.
collateralizing their derivatives market with?
I mean, also Bitcoin, Ethereum. I mean, they're collateralizing it with more
I'm pretty
than
sure
just.
it's ETH-based stable coins. Just saying. I'm pretty sure.
no, yeah, it'll be Tether and.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be USDC and USDT.
Yeah,
I don't think you can have like a bull case for Coinbase derivatives without a bull case for like ETH and ETH stable coins at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like look at these charts. Like, let's actually do a little like quick study here. What's the typical lag time between like a coin move and a crypto move? Can we figure that out?
Yeah, we can. So
I would say put them both on the same time frame though, because coin is on the 3.
yeah, let me get Pepe off here though. All right, let's just do the daily. So this gap up was okay. Crypto led that. Crypto led this gap up by 4 or 5 days. Bottom same time.
This feels like when we were dealing with MicroStrategy in like October.
Yeah, it does.
And we were just coping that MicroStrategy was ripping and Bitcoin didn't, and then Bitcoin finally just, having flashbacks. So Coinbase led the top there by how much?
Led the top by, let's see, it was like right here, 10 days about. Let's find another one. Where was this? This was a top. Well, this is where it started going down. That's probably another 10 days. It looks to be about 10 days.
How about the top in March?
Wow, that led by a lot. Crypto did. Well, okay, so crypto top, Coinbase top, then Coinbase put in a higher high. And wow, that's a pretty big divergence. Actually.
That was like 2 weeks though, right?
Yeah, that was March 25th. That was
seems
March
to be maybe like a few days to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Never the same.
Yeah.
What do we think about MicroStrategy here?
Oversaturated. Cisco 2.0.
Prometheus.
Yeah, he's feeling optimistic today.
No, I mean I've been calling
Prometheus, pull
for
up your hyperliquid. I want to see your positioning right now.
no, I've been talking about MicroStrategy for I've been talking about MicroStrategy being oversaturated in the bullshit. Oh, I need to excuse my language today. I've been talking about
Prometheus is fired up today.
Yeah. I woke up laying on needles today, I think. No, I've been talking about like the ridiculous premium that MicroStrategy's Bitcoin stack gets. And that now that you have, more companies kind of coming into the fold in regards to like the whole like Bitcoin treasury stack, they're probably going to lose like a little bit of that, liquidity, mind share, perspective, whatever you want to call it. Because back, when they first started doing all this, they were the only one in the game. There was only one place you could go to get access to BTC in that manner in TradFi and in Equity Land. I still think that MicroStrategy does not like. I don't think that that's like its all-time high. But I don't think you see the multiples. If you remember when they had that, the announcement that they're raising 42 bill, and that thing was up like 40-50% on open, right? Like gapped up to like almost 600, right? That was like mania.
Sorry, while you're talking, Prometheus, Tucker, could you chart MSTR against Bitcoin?
Yes.
And then Prometheus, you can keep talking on it. But I think this is an important chart because Tommy's also outlined that MicroStrategy typically outperforms Bitcoin when it's cheaper early in the cycle, and then it kind of slowly comes back to reality.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, people were paying a 2.7 NAV, or they, back when Bitcoin was at like 70, 80K, people were essentially buying Bitcoin for like 180, 190K. Like it just didn't, it was crazy. Like it was crazy. You'd just be better off just buying Bitcoin at that point. But MicroStrategy's the GOAT though at the same time. Like, they set the precedence for everybody. Like they set the precedence for all these companies. They were the first, vehicle for people in TradFi to get exposure to Bitcoin in a big, meaningful way. The spokesperson being Michael Saylor, championing this asset class. It can't be understated what it's done for the legacy, what MicroStrategy is in regards to the legacy for crypto. But from like, if we're talking from a trader's perspective, I think there's much better RR out there. And I don't think that it nearly acts in the same manner as what it once did, similar to how Solana is. Like, the markets are constantly evolving, they're constantly fluid, and they're constantly shifting. And I want to emphasize too, like my bearish outlook on the markets and is a short-term perspective. High time frame, we very much are like it's forced through the trees perspective. High time frame, I'm very, very bullish high time frame. But in this, lower time frame, medium time frame kind of viewpoint, structurally speaking here, I do expect, at minimum, sideways chop, and I expect alts to get probably continue to be pummeled. Talked about it in the Discord, right? It's like it's going to be easy to reposition back in alts to the upside. It's not going to be easy to reposition them to the downside to chase. So
I think MSTR kind of needs to go sideways.
Like this chart or the stock?
Like, I mean, MSTR period needs to go sideways. You just don't want to see that turn into complacency.
No. I mean, you'd like to see what, this? Or like chop down?
How does it compare to the 2021 top?
Let's put her in log. You could argue there's some similarities.
I just don't really trade MSTR.
No, I don't either.
I think there's a lot of often conflicting signal on MicroStrategy.
I mean, that would be the argument if you're going to make it, you know, but. You also didn't have like this period, you know, there was nothing. I mean, I guess you didn't in Bitcoin either, but you just didn't have this giant consolidation range in 2021. You just went vertical. So jeez. Go back to 1999.
The fact that it just broke all-time highs.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild to look back on MicroStrategy stock though and see the drawdown from the tech bubble. Like it literally went down 99.9%.
Yeah. You guys have any charts you want to show us?
I feel like we should look at Circle.
Maybe a little Bitcoin dominance. Oh, Circle. Let's see.
Dude, Circle's been insane. Absolute juggernaut for the market.
Let me just peep this real quick. Yep.
Sig-
All
What do you
right.
guys, what do you
Moving
guys
on.
think about the idea that Circle is replicating the KETA structure?
The
on
ETA
that
structure.
I'm
70%.
I kind of see
I've,
it.
I've seen. I
I
point
do
out
see it
KETA.
too.
I point out KETA because I've seen this altcoin structure a lot this cycle.
Yeah.
That would be what you'd be looking for then.
Dude, people are like messaging me like, when should I buy Circle? When should I buy call options on Circle? Like, I'm like, absolutely not. Like,
Yeah, look at it, bro.
absolutely not.
Like,
Well,
Um,
even the puts are super juiced up. I was just looking at them.
yeah,
They
dude,
are
the premium
expensive.
in those things. I'm like, why would you do that? Like one tick in, against you, and those things get blown apart. Like,
mhm. Yeah, if you want to call it keto, you're looking for like 130s, I would say, on Circle.
more like keto weight loss structure.
Dude. Keto, dude.
Yeah, this is something I'm probably going to buy in the bear if I'm being real. Like, expect this to do numbers more so next cycle. I think next cycle is going to be like way, way, way more institutionally driven and, from a adoption perspective as well.
I mean, dude, I think if you get 130s on Circle, like, that's probably a shove. I mean,
Dude, you know the valuation?
no.
What is it?
It's like 50 something bill.
Right here
I,
at 200? Or
might
was
be a
that
little-
a peak?
no, it might be like 40 something now, but
Hang on.
I mean, that's like Robinhood right now. Like Robinhood's
Circle's at
That's wild,
45
man.
bill. Circle's at 45 bill. So, I mean, but stocks are an entirely 45 bill is not a ton in equities, and if you get a 30 something % drop, that
Yeah.
might look good.
Well, I mean, just in relation though to Hood, like Hood's got an awesome product. They have a huge user base. They have tons and tons and tons of different, ways of capturing new users, yada yada yada. And Circle's like 60% of Hood's market cap. And like, what does Circle do? I get the long-term thesis on what they do,
Yeah,
but
bro, they print USDC.
I mean, I'm pretty bullish on financials. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Like JP Morgan, I kind of just been using that as my barometer. I one of my most schizophrenic takes is that JP Morgan is actually going to run like 100% higher than here within a year. If that's like symbolic of other banks and other financials, then maybe Circle is going to be a great buy at some point. But Yeah, no, I mean, look at JP Morgan stock. Like
Yeah.
if that's an indication of the economic health of, or like the market health,
Jeez.
it's pretty hard
My
to find a
God.
reason to be bearish on a chart like this.
Looks like Costco.
What does Costco look like?
Costco's vertical, bro.
Yeah, up and to the right.
Good.
Yeah.
Study the black card.
Study hot dogs.
You're not bearish, Bearmetheus? You're actually bullish something today? That's unbelievable.
Bro, I've been bullish on stuff. Rode Keat up 66x, brother.
He's
You didn't even hit
trading
100x,
Costco.
dude? Come on.
He's
What
pair
are you-
trading Costco and altcoins. He's long Costco and short altcoins.
That's what
No,
it sounds like.
I'm long United Healthcare, short short Bitcoin.
United Healthcare.
No, I'm just kidding. I actually am long United though.
Hold on.
Did they
I don't
recover?
love the
I haven't
Costco
even
chart.
looked at it.
No,
Oh, they're
it's
still cooked.
yeah. They're still pooping around.
Hold on now. Oh, Costco others is down only. That's interesting.
I kind of don't love the Costco chart. But I could see a divergence here between, I guess, what are they called? I'm just going to say like things that you typically see in the date or the DJI. I could see a divergence here between those and potentially tech.
Mhm.
But I I don't know.
Let's see.
It's
your
hard to bet
DJI
against
chart
Costco.
today. Let me see your
What?
DJI object tree.
I don't think that you do. I haven't looked at the DJI in weeks, so I probably should do that. Let's see.
Pull it up for us, Tommy. Pull it up for us. I don't have a DJI chart that's charted out.
I don't have anything drawn on my DJI chart.
Tommy's object tree is usually a thing of nightmares, if we're being honest. So,
Or Euphoria.
or
sometimes
Euphoria.
both.
No in between.
It's usually extremities. Yeah.
I'll have Chop too.
Chop ending in extremity.
Or it's like
yeah, but we don't play
extreme
this
chop.
game for Chop. We play
Yeah.
this game for the volatility.
Yeah.
True.
No, I mean even his chop fractals are like 50 years of chop.
Extreme chop.
I will say that's pretty accurate, right? Because we talk about equities. I mean, most of my thought process for equities is like very binary. It's really difficult to position for, but it's like you're either going to get 60s, 70s, 80s style chop, with stagflation, or you're going to get a bunch of people that get forced into the market. Financials look good, rates come down all at the same time, and you get a melt up into like the end of 2026. So, it's like two very different outcomes for markets. But that's really how I personally am viewing equities at the moment, right? So I'm personally viewing the fact that Nvidia is going into price discovery, the fact that you're seeing JP Morgan go into price discovery, as huge positives to potentially avoiding, that huge choppy period that equities had. And maybe we are going into a melt up in 2026. But I mean, those are, I think, the two most realistic outcomes that I can see for stocks from here.
Tommy, so your bullish financials, does that include some like credit card companies? Does that include
Dude, Amex is insane.
does
I haven't
that
looked at
chart.
Capital
credit
One
companies.
Finance?
Damn, that chart looks good. Wow.
You remember trading this chart?
Did we trade Capital One?
Oh, brother.
I don't
we
think I
did.
did.
No, we were shorting Capital One, brother.
Yeah, right about here. And then what's Amex? Is it just Amex?
Yeah.
No, it's
Or AXP. AXP, sorry.
AXP, that's right.
Nuts.
nuts, dude.
Dude, look up Texas Roadhouse. Study verticality.
What?
Look up
Are you
Texas
serious?
Roadhouse, study verticality.
Dude, I didn't even know they had a ticker, bro.
Look at that, bro.
Dang.
Wow.
Just belong at Texas Roadhouse, bro.
I belong their bread.
You long.
I don't think we
Where are the
have
features
Texas
for this?
Roadhouse where I live. I don't think I've ever had it.
Speaking of Texas Roadhouse futures, is it time to pull up soybeans potentially? Good question.
That's a good question. Let me look.
Are they hitting the like button? They are not hitting the like button. I'm almost insulted at the total.
The time
Come
for
on,
an
guys.
Tommy's
unskippable
almost
ad.
insulted. I'm fully insulted. So, not good news, guys. Don't give them the soybeans. They don't deserve it. Give them something else.
Lean hog.
Cotton
I
candy
know Lean
futures.
Hog by heart. HE, baby. HE1.
We throw on some Bollinger Bands on this as well. I'd like to see if there's a Bollinger Band squeeze coming in on the Lean Hog future 15-second chart. Okay. All right.
Got a little pop. Dude, look
Yeah.
at these kicks. They're just nothing.
No.
Maybe Heikinashi candles, Tucker. Let's smooth it out a little bit. See if that helps.
A little smoothing.
Yeah, there we go. A clear trend.
Roller coaster.
What about the time price opportunity bars?
Oh, the
They
TPO.
haven't earned it, Prometheus. They haven't earned it.
You've seen the volume footprint, though? It's basically TPO.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh nice.
That's nice to look at.
Over under 1 month. Bitcoin dominance above 70%.
So
What's
you're
that right
saying
now?
you're saying it's a certainty, and you're asking whether or not it will happen within a month.
I'm saying, do you think it's going to happen within a month, or I am viewing it kind of as a certainty right now, looking at the structure of Bitcoin dominance. It looks absolutely bonkers, to be honest.
69%.
We could do 69% for the
Weird.
mimetic
70.
value, but
What are you saying? 30 days or the end of this month?
30 days.
30 days from now.
What's it at right now exactly?
That's 65.
65.7.
5 is a big
It was
move.
really not like a huge move from Bitcoin dominance.
Okay, so it went up like 2% basically. I mean, from here, 35 days, it went up 2%. That's a close call. We'd have to have
How
a
about we
big
do
move.
6 weeks? What do we do 6 weeks?
6 weeks? I could probably, if you gave it a little more time.
Like September.
We'll do
Like,
end of July.
Yeah,
that's
I think it will be end of July, and I think it will be off the back of 125K Bitcoin, honestly. That's my gut feeling. But I don't know exactly. I mean, it'll probably just go to 69% because that's crypto, and then that'll be the top. So
mhm.
crypto likes to do that kind of shit for no reason.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Dude, we're not even in a bear market and Bitcoin dominance is at 65%. Like, you want to talk where you think this thing's going in a bear market? Like 80, 90%.
I
Hot-
actually have
hot take
I
for
want
you?
to push back on that a little bit because I almost wonder if Bitcoin dominance moving down is just because Bitcoin is finally topped, because it's been outperforming altcoins basically the entire cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next bear market is going to be fueled by not weak-handed individuals, but all these companies that are adopting corporate treasury strategies,
Blowing up.
bailing on it and just completely dumping all their Bitcoin that is borrowed money and like not knowing how to clip out $1 bazillion of Bitcoin. Like,
Mm.
I think that's going to be the fuel for the next bear market, honestly, because not everybody has the conviction or knowledge that Saylor has around like what he's trying to do. There's going to be some weak-handed boards out there that decide to dump all their, their 500 million to $1 billion of Bitcoin at a huge loss.
Mhm.
Just get me out at any price. So I think, I mean, dude, I actually don't even know if I see Bitcoin dominance like going up that much or like that aggressively in the next bear market, because I think Bitcoin is going to have such an unwind from these corporate treasury strategies. Like, I don't see it. I think some of them will be fine, but I think it's going to become like the new trend because you're seeing what's happening to all their stocks. Every time a company does it, they go crazy. I think there's going to be, during tough times, there's going to be a lot of people that cannot take the drawdown that Saylor did last bear market, and they're going to puke. And it's not going to be a guy puking 20 Bitcoin. It's going to be a company puking 2,500 Bitcoin, personally, but maybe kind of a contrarian take. Because I know
agree with
everybody
you, man.
wants them to do well, but you agree, Tommy?
I agree. I think obviously Bitcoin has been a lot stronger than altcoins on downside, but we often see at like the very bottom, Bitcoin will dump a lot more than altcoins. And I do think that for the reasons that you just stated, I mean, Bitcoin has so much more embedded leverage in it than basically every other asset in crypto. So the unwind will be epic. I don't think it's coming, anytime soon, but those guys are going to get liquidated probably. And with the exception of a few alts, obviously, some alts are definitely going to get smashed even harder than Bitcoin. But yeah, I think Bitcoin dominance will finally shrink because realistically, Bitcoin dominance is just ETH Bitcoin inverted. So, I mean, there's a little bit more nuance to it than that, but Bitcoin is up so much more this cycle than ETH. So if you're talking about Bitcoin coming back to a certain level and ETH potentially coming back towards that same level, ETH has significantly much less downside to give than Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like, don't get me wrong, alts are going to get hammered in the next bear market because they're altcoins. Most of them are worth literally zero, if not negative. But I would say don't believe the illusion that Bitcoin is going to suddenly find insulation, because I'm telling you, there's going to be some people that come in late to this new trend of, corporate Bitcoin treasury strategies. They're going to come in late and they're going to bail on it super quickly. Oh, well, we just didn't time it right. We'll try again later. We'd rather, be in cash. Shareholders, blah, 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 blah. We'll see, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Here's the thing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Apple and Nvidia and Microsoft and everybody and Google, everybody just starts buying Bitcoin forever, and it just keeps going up forever and ever and ever. But I don't know if I think that's going to happen quite yet. It's never that easy, It's never that easy.
What do you guys think about Pomp?
Oh, he bought what, 500
9
mil?
figures of Bitcoin with the same strategy that MicroStrategy is doing.
Tommy,
I do not love.
The whole spiel that I went on was motivated by those thoughts came to me after I saw that announcement this morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I think of is BlockFi, get on board. Whoosh, rocket ship. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
That's all I think of. Not even hating, just having flashbacks is all. Not even just Prometheus be yapping.
Just be yapping about what, boy?
I think he's probably like 20 minutes behind or something.
My X bio becomes, I feel like, more applicable every day. There's a professional yapper in all of us.
All right, here's the
ironic and unironic.
Let me address this. I agree with you. I actually, like, I don't know much about Pomp, but like,
dude, where did all this hate come, dude?
I think he's a smart guy too. I'm just saying, like, he's buying a lot of Bitcoin and he raised a lot of money, and I think it's going to work for sure in the short term, and hopefully prices stay above their entry, right? That's it. But like, it's nothing against him, dude. If I could raise $750 million or whatever he raised, I'd go buy some Bitcoin too. but I can't raise $750 million. So here I am, a guy on the internet. I get to comment on it, right? That's my job. But it's not a hate thing, right? Like I'm not hating on him. I'm just commenting on like a huge bit of news that happened. It's nothing against him. I wish him the best. I hope he prints money.
It's just cracking me up looking at Prometheus's profile picture, man.
Dude,
Study.
It's a good movie.
It's a
I
great
like
movie.
I like Convenant a little bit more, but
Yeah.
Prometheus
Dude,
is pretty good.
those little like black things in the movie, the little like worms or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, those freaked me out when I first saw it.
I don't even know if I've seen Prometheus. I think I need to watch it.
oh, you
bro.
should. You should. Yeah.
I love
Alright.
the Alien franchise.
Did you
Kind of
watch the
shitty
last
sci-fi
one,
movies are
Tommy?
like my chick flick per se.
Did you watch the last one though? It was okay.
It was really
though-
slow, and then the final half hour was crazy.
Yeah. I think I like Prometheus more than whatever it was, Romulus or something. But
Convenant's probably my favorite one of like the newer trilogy. They got a show coming out though that I am excited to see on FX.
yes, that's gonna be sweet. I also saw a preview for a new Predator coming out in a few months.
There's like a cartoon one on Hulu right now that I tried to give it a go, and then I was like, these graphics are just gonna give me a headache, so
Yeah.
I turned it off.
Yeah.
We love our Alien movies.
Yes.
Come for the charting and market talk. Leave with movie reviews and show recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Leave with your brain smooth.
Oh, we haven't even gotten started.
Let me see. Is there anything else intriguing in markets right now?
Nope.
Bitcoin hasn't moved in 45 minutes.
Wednesdays. Dude, every time I'm like, oh, it's another Wednesday. It's like the one day you can look at the chart in the morning, see price, come back, and price is probably exactly the same as where you left it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whack, bro. It's just not good.
Yes, we did have a pretty good amount of volatility on Bitcoin earlier this week. It's kind of hard to believe that the whole squeeze was on a Monday, or just like less than 48 hours ago.
Yeah. Makes sense though. I mean, all the news came in on Saturday, Sunday. So I don't know. I really don't think there's any major cause for concern here. Like I don't think so. I just think we're just chopping up a Wednesday session with nothing going on.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wouldn't even be surprised to see us rebound like tomorrow, Friday, keep moving up into next week. Like, I don't know. I'm just not seeing like some crazy like bear case right here. I think it's just premature. I guess it could turn into that, but
Should we talk about Say now that Jump is back?
why would we
Yeah.
ever talk about Say, Tommy?
Have you seen it?
Man.
No, is there crime involved?
Yeah.
Look at
There
this.
is crime brewing.
I mean, well, I don't know.
It's pre-crime. It's not full crime yet. All
This
right,
is a good
this is a
point.
super inaccurate comment. First of all, I have called it way more than 100 times. Just to be clear, I'm at least on 200 or 300. So pay some respects. Spag XTB. What an amateur, man. Clearly a new viewer.
I was going to say this is a good point. We have a new moon today.
Yes. Mercury in retrograde here soon, Tommy.
Oh, don't remind me.
Mercury's in retro fade.
Oh my god. Oh.
Honestly, we just need Trump to shut up for a little bit.
Wouldn't count on it.
Yeah.
He does not miss on the weekends, bro. He does
No.
not
Dude,
miss.
I think he
feel
gets
like
bored.
He only talks on the weekends, I feel like.
I will
He's
give
like,
Trump
"Oh,
this,
dude."
though. He is the world's greatest online shit poster of all time.
Yes, Twitter.
There's
finger.
not even a close second. Like the way he will just dismantle somebody.
Did you see the post today that he made?
No.
No.
It's what is it? It's B-2 bombers like taking off, and the song in the background is "Bomb, Bomb, 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 Iran."
See, that's what I mean. Like, dude, there's no second best shit
Oh
poster.
my god, bro.
There's not even there's no one that comes close, bro. Like,
Oh my
it's-
god!
Yeah.
Yeah, he stands alone, you know? Like he's the greatest shit poster troll of all time. Undefeated, never lost.
Did you guys see Kraken just tweeted at Chimp?
Yeah.
Wait, why?
What does that mean for my Sully bag?
Well, it's going up.
Is it?
It is.
Off the
No
Kraken
way.
reply guy? Dude, let me check. Am I rich yet? Oh wow, it's still so cooked. I mean,
Say up here, man.
Is
what
Say
if
cooked?
Sully's
Say
the ultimate sleeper make it play this cycle?
Dude, could you imagine?
That'd be hilarious.
The description on Deck Screener is meow, meow, meow.
Let me.
Dude, so interesting. Like when Say and Sui both came out, they were like the twins. Like,
Yeah, bro.
you know, moved in tandem, and I mean that regime clearly changed, but
Man, I don't love the Sui chart.
No.
no.
The Sui chart looks like, I mean, it's a lower high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan. I saw Kaleo tweeting about Sui today, or yesterday rather. Sui Bitcoin going straight to the moon.
I don't
No.
I don't know.
Well, it's just like one of those KOL coins
Yep.
at the end of the day.
With like 40 billion FTV.
Yeah, it's like don't fade it when it's going up because you'll get steamrolled by the market maker and the KOL tweets. But when it's going down, it's just like there's no bid. And if you look at the way Sui traded off the local highs a few weeks ago, I mean, it literally went zero bid for weeks.
What, like this?
Yeah.
Yep. But it's so hard to catch it on leverage. It just like chops everybody to pieces on the lower time frame.
This is on my no trade list. I will not touch Sui. There are very few coins that I literally will not touch on principle, but this is one of them.
That's fair. I think there's easier trades to be had.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Oh, this market is so whack, man. Where have the months gone? How long have I been here?
Dude, Coinbase blow off top question mark.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
I'll
you're
just
viewing
start-
Are we viewing coin as a crypto asset, or are we gonna start to view it increasingly like a bank?
I think we're in the direction of heading towards a bank, but I don't think it's quite there yet. You see MicroStrategy's looking into BTC-backed loans.
That's a terrible idea.
That is a terrible idea.
That's not good. I don't like that.
Michael Saylor just wakes up every day and he's like, how can I add more leverage to my position?
He wants 10%, man. He wants 10% of that supply.
I would not. The more he acquires, man, I feel like it just damages the value proposition of Bitcoin on a relative basis, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Max, what are your thoughts on this comment here? I know this is more in line with your expertise than ours.
I think it's a really sustainable bubble, but nonetheless, we're in a bubble, but I don't really see it popping soon. The reason being is the market's kind of at like a stalemate. I mean, people are still transacting, but really the underlying issue is, I mean, well, let me put it this way. One, we need it to come back down to earth, but I don't think it's going to. The reason is that everybody refinanced their homes. Everybody that bought like pre-2020, pre-2019, refinanced their homes, locked in a 30-year rate at like 3% or less. So they're locked in for 30 years at under 3%. Everybody jumped on that. So you have a lot of people that would normally be interested in selling their homes or moving or something, basically just stuck in their houses being like, it's free money. I'm not giving up this mortgage, because it's not like these notes are not assumable. Like when you sell your house, it's not like a commercial property where like sometimes the notes are assumable and like the new buyer can come in and like assume your low rate. I actually have an investment property that it's a multifamily building. The rate's 3.24%, and the note is assumable. So the debt actually becomes a huge asset. With single family homes, it's not working like that. So you have all these people that are stuck and happily stuck in their homes with basically the cheapest possible debt you're ever going to see again in our lifetime. And they're not going to give that up at all. So what you're seeing is a complete lack of inventory, right? There's just no supply on the market right now, or at least not as much as there normally would be. So there is demand to buy houses, but you just don't have that same supply. Therefore, since there's more demand than supply, prices remain stubbornly high. So no doubt there is like a bubble, but it's a super sustainable bubble that I don't really see popping, because who's going to sell their house? You're not going to actually see it hit the tape because there's just no inventory, right? And it makes perfect sense why. So it's like there may be some major correction in like 5, 7, 10 years. I don't know. It's going to be catalyzed by something else. It's not going to be like, it's certainly not going to be like 2008, right? It's certainly not going to be like 2008. It will be a completely, if there is ever a big correction, it's going to be something else that drives it. It's not going to be predatory lending. It's going to be something else. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I don't see it popping anytime soon because of this super weird dynamic that we just came out of, right? So what you really need to do is somehow convince people to sell their houses that have 30-year notes locked in at sub 3%. So how are you going to convince those people that it's time to sell their homes, right? Either they need to get laid off and we need to see unemployment go crazy and they can't even afford to make their super cheap mortgage payments anymore, or rates have to go basically back down to where they refinanced at in 2022, right, at the bottom. And then they'll be like, oh, well, now I can move and still get a mortgage that's at a comparable rate. But then home prices are going to go back up. So it's like, I don't even know what it's going to be. It's super unfortunate for anybody trying to buy a home. You're going to get clobbered. But yeah, I don't see it popping because there's still enough demand and there's such limited supply. So when it pops, if you want to know when it's going to pop, then you need to figure out, and I don't know, then you need to figure out what's going to convince those people. What's going to convince those people that refinanced, which is literally everybody? What's going to convince everybody who locked in a 30-year note at sub 3% to move on from that deal? Because that's the best deal they're ever going to get. And you also have a lot of people that bought homes in 2016, 17, 18 for 50% off what their house was trading at like right now. You have those people that refinanced and didn't get egregious with their appraisals, right? So they actually just like their home is worth like 4 or 5 times the value of their note. Some of these people, they're so comfortable. For like $1 million house, their mortgage is probably like $3,000. You know what I mean? Like principal and interest. Like they're paying nothing, these people. So yeah, I don't know. It's like if you don't own a home yet, it's an unfortunate situation for you because it's not going to pop. It's not going to pop anytime soon. So, but if you know what that thing is that's going to pop it, then let's talk. But it's either going to have to be rates coming back down or some major recession. It's not going to move. Like we're stuck in this environment. We're stuck in this environment for a while. Like I don't see anybody selling their houses right now. There's certain areas. The areas that are being affected right now are the areas in which like Airbnbs and like vacation rentals got really saturated. Okay. Those are the areas you're seeing people like sell their properties at. Small losses in like nice residential, like 20-minute outside of big city suburbs. Those home prices are not coming down. Like the areas you want to live with your family, they're not coming down. If you want to go to like, I don't know, some Airbnb hotspot, yeah, you could probably get a good deal, but you don't want to live there anyways. So anyways, we'll close on those thoughts. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the subprime of this cycle is private equity valuations.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. All right. Well, let's pack it up. We're at the 80-minute mark. Tommy, do us the honors. Close us out, brother.
All right, guys. We hope that you enjoyed the show. As always, thank you again for tuning in to today's episode of Market Check. We will be back on Friday. A reminder that the new Market Check schedule is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So make sure to tune in so that you can see us to wrap up your week. And yeah, gives the market a little bit of time to do something, right? Chud Jacks, nothing ever happens. We need the market to do something. We'll see what kind of volatility we get though by Friday. But yeah, we hope that you guys enjoyed the show. That's when you can catch us on Market Check. Our typical start time is around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, make sure to tune in for Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, not Thursday. But you can check out that show on X. It is a Spaces hosted through the Because Bitcoin account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe to BB as well as Wabi so you can be notified not just when we schedule those spaces, but of course also when we go live. But that's it from us, guys. I'm going to send you on your way talking about the BB Terminal, which is a product that we're very proud of, and we're going to continue to reiterate. There is a place to use, or a utility rather, to use the BB Terminal, whether or not you're an expert or whether or not you are a beginner, right? Active traders, long-term investors, even on-chain degens. Maybe you don't like the phrase degen. Maybe you're a DeFi investor. Maybe you're a meme coin degen, right? But we've got the utility for you to be able to tackle these markets in a way that will give you a tangible edge over others. So check out the BB Terminal, guys. I'm going to play a commercial as we wrap up, but everything is linked in the description below. So make sure to check that out. But that's it from us, guys. Thank you again, as always, for tuning in. See you again on Friday. And as always, stay safe.